My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe right now. You definitely want to get the take of somebody who used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and like the unofficial scribe of Bernie's most hardcore voters, something like that. The Washington Post called me in 2016, who is now a Trump supporter. Very proud of President Trump for bringing, close to 10,000 Americans home from endless counterinsurgency conflicts and battles and wars, and we need more Americans home. He is slowly ending the intervention in that country that did not work out. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, these interventions, these neoconservative regime changes do not work. They don't work. And any excuse given to keep Americans in lands thousands and thousands of miles away, and the same excuses given by Nixon, which are the same excuses given by Bush, which were the same excuses given by Obama, and the same flawed logic of Democrats, of liberals today. Oh, you can't bring Americans home. Well, why not? Well, because Trump decided to do that. Therefore, it's bad. Anyway, Trump's presiding over peace between North and South Korea. Trump is going to sign, hopefully, if the government shutdown ever ends, prison reform, a lot of things. It's a great economy. I deactivated my Facebook. I deactivated my Twitter today. I am actually going to I have a Gab and a Minds. I'll deactivate those. I'll only keep BitChute aside from this YouTube channel. Why did I do that? Well, number one, you're never good enough on Twitter. You are never good enough. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. This is what the Huffington Post called me. My articles went viral in the Huffington Post, Salon, The Hill. My articles, one of them reached 700,000 plus Facebook likes, hundreds of thousands of shares. Consistently, I would get articles that would go viral, 100,000, 250,000 in The Hill, 20, 30,000 Facebook likes in my Salon articles. They would go viral because nobody was saying that Bernie had a chance to win. Nobody was saying that Bernie was better than Clinton. Very few people were, okay? Nobody was saying that Clinton, aside from Sticks and perhaps some other people, was going to lose. I was writing this, and on the left, I was never good enough because on Twitter and Facebook, I would always get attacked and condemned by people who were saying, oh my God, and by the way, this was before socialist, Bernie the socialist. Ezra Klein at Vox, when he interviewed Bernie, was like, you're a socialist, huh? And Bernie was like, no, democratic socialist. Big difference. That they tried to, in 2016 and 2015, try to remove Bernie Sanders from that label because they knew, or they thought, they knew that painting him as a socialist would make him unelectable. Now they pretended Medicare for all, green economy, $15 minimum wage, abolish ICE. Yeah, none of that's going to happen with Pelosi. They deceived their voters, didn't think that voters were stupid enough to believe Pelosi and establishment Democrats when they said abolish ICE, when Obama deported 2.5 million people. Anyway, I was never good enough on the left. So I'd have hit pieces written on me by people who were progressive, who were liberal, quote-unquote progressive liberal, and they're still going after me now. People would attack me. One guy tried to insinuate that he would meet me in real life, and then I went to the police department and actually got a police report on this person's profile. Twitter was like, nothing we can do. Meanwhile, if you say something wrong, you get suspended. Or you use the F word, you get suspended. So, and then people would take shots at me. I'll read you a little later on the 24 tweets that I wrote. But when I was on the left before I became a Trump supporter, it was never good enough. Ross Story wrote a hit piece on me. The Daily Beast wrote an unethical hit piece on me. Wong Kent, some insignificant blogs. My name was mentioned all the time on Reddit. Oh yeah, he's so crazy, and I was right. I had an AMA. I actually had an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. They reached out to me, And it was all, like, like these petulant, like, oh yeah, well, what about, and then I was right. Clinton lost. All of those people, all you can do is just bring up Clinton. Yeah, I know, because there are two choices. There are two choices. And Clinton lost. Then they blamed Russia. Now there's the Mueller probe. It's all complete nonsense. Trump didn't collude with Putin. So, again, they're going after David Sirota now, who is a brilliant journalist, who probably thinks, that might not know who I am, probably thinks I'm crazy if he does know who I am. Definitely disagrees with me. It's not a Trump supporter. But they're going after him. Why? Because Beto O'Rourke received, what, the second greatest amount of money, or the second, of all the people in Congress, he's received the second most lobbyist money from oil and gas corporations. And this is the wonderful Beto O'Rourke, the person who really cares about climate change. Not much of the intersectionality person. All he has is a Spanish nickname. That's it. He's still a white guy. Just like Biden. Democrats will utilize anything to deceive their voters, to manipulate the passions, the wants, the desires of their voters. Anyway, on the left, never good enough. On Twitter, I would get it from people on the left. When I was on the left, you're not pure enough, you're not good enough, you are, you're insulting Clinton. Got it from everyone. Everyone. Then I became a Trump supporter. What happens? Ross Story still writes a hit piece on me. People still, the same little insignificant blog, still write hit pieces on me. On Twitter, that people try to attack me. Oh my God, how dare you? You're fascist, and they call you a word. And you know what? I'm not going to get this. They call you a you-know-what sympathizer. These are people who murdered millions and millions and millions of people during World War II. Not even going to say the name because, of course, if you say the name, too often the from what I've seen, you spend all this time on a segment and it gets demonetized because you say certain names. But they say, oh, yeah, you're a so-and-so sympathizer. And I'm Jewish. These are people who, when I became more independent, even before I was a Trump supporter, still technically on the left, on Twitter, I would spend hours arguing with the latte-drinking anarchist socialists who were getting law degrees at universities or working at coffee shops or whatever. And these are the people who also believe in the Russia probe. These are people who will always funnel everything. They'll funnel their outrage back into the Democratic Party. So you can't win on social media, especially in politics. It's an unhealthy place. Facebook's completely unhealthy. People that used to like me when I was a Bernie supporter, suddenly, oh my God, how dare you? How could you? How could you? Oh my God. It's the whole. I was talking about tribalism and the tribalistic nature of American politics in 2015. In 2014, I wrote an article on Rand Paul, and then people who knew who I was lost their minds. Oh my God, how could you? Da-da-da. Because he wanted to bring Americans home, which is what I got from Trump. So people are like, there's one guy on YouTube, he's like, Goodman is such a lunatic. And he was like, well, how do you go from Bernie to Trump? Well, because people voted for Bernie because he was an anti-war candidate, because he was against neoconservative foreign policy, because he was against quagmires. You bringing home Americans from war is a great thing. Presiding over peace between North and South Korea is a great thing. Those two things alone, he's better than Obama, who destroyed Libya, who lied to the country about a server containing top-secret intelligence. Hillary Clinton, there needs to be a special counsel. The Trump DOJ needs to act decisively and quickly because the media is wearing down the American public every single day. Even if you don't believe it, it's like, oh my God, again. Oh my God. Then you got to hear it from people who you know, family members. Did you see what Trump did? What did he do? What? Oh my God, he wrote this tweet. That is what's consuming your day. Twitter and Facebook are vehicles for democratic influence, not influence from Russia. Clinton outspent Trump 2-1. Clinton had more media, the entire media, even Fox to an extent, in her corner. Then you get like absurd articles like, oh yeah, Trump asked Putin to hack Clinton's emails. No. The whole thing is that she had 33,000 deleted emails that were all yoga. So what's the problem? Obviously they weren't. They were about Clinton Foundation pay-to-play schemes. Peter Strzok deleted references to gross negligence. She should have been then indicted under U.S. Code 793F. I'll read you my last 24 tweets on Twitter. If I use profanity, I just don't want to use the profanity here, but, you know, I'll try to, you know. So this is the first tweet. So number one, I'll just read you the tweets in succession. This is what I wrote today. I'll be deactivating my Twitter account today, and before I do, I got to give my thoughts on some people. To Kyle Kalinske, ever wonder why the Daily Beast and others who wrote hit pieces on me for being a Bernie bro don't bother you? Senator Sanders could be beaten with a steel pipe by HRC, and you tell progressives in swing states to vote Democrat and then pretend you're authentic by voting Stein. Doesn't matter if it's Clinton 2020 or Beto 2020, you and Cenk Uygur will fuel progressive outrage back into the DNC. Also, you called me a dip for saying HRC would be indicted in 2016, you might be too stupid to realize that had she been indicted for crimes Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Obama, etc. covered up, Bernie would have been nominee and won, like I wrote endlessly in the HuffPost, Salon, The Hill, etc. while you were off to Thunderbolts. So anytime you want to debate single payer, which you know House Democrats won't pass, or Trump being a good president for bringing home Americans while Obama furthered regime changes in Libya, Syria, let me know on my channel you've made out enough from straddling the fence. To Bob Seska, nobody knows who you are, so this tweet might help you. Please tell your interns to stop writing hit pieces on me. Over 10 is a bit much, although I can't say being disparaged by your blog is that traumatizing. More people read messages scrawled in an abandoned porta potty than your illustrious publication. To the identity politics, SJW professional outrage, but only if it's Trump, not when Clinton says they all look alike. Enjoy voting for Beto 2020, the good candidate, the good white male candidate, or Biden, the other white male. For anarchist socialist, hate Trump, but also pretend to hate Democrats people. You should probably burn in you-know-where for calling Jewish conservatives or Trump voters a word that'll get me not banned, but demonetize this YouTube segment. Then again, you're too stupid to realize how disgusting that is and never read a book on genocide or have any concept of history. To the extreme left, outrage culture, people who call everyone Nazi, etc. The word that I wasn't supposed to. Nobody in real life gives a you-know-what about your pseudo-intellectual theories. They're a bunch of nonsense used only to condemn because you exist only to condemn others with Twitter. In real life, people don't walk around with gigantic chips on their shoulder, calling strangers racist, tying everything to some theory a professor at Women's Study Environmental Justice course in Berkeley once wrote about in 1998. Nobody gives a you-know-what you think, aside from your Twitter friends who aren't really friends. The TYT Network, not Jimmy Dore. I love Jimmy Dore. Everyone knows Cenk and company basically work to further Democratic talking points. So start your broadcast with, we don't even believe this, but this will help Trump lose. To the Russia influence, Trump, Russia collusion, conspiracy theorists, Democrats, you have to be the stupidest people alive to think Putin would conspire with Trump to influence our election through effing Facebook ads nobody saw or cared about, or Twitter bots nobody paid attention to, but then again, you're a cult. In your case, the media and intel criminals like Comey, Brennan, Clapper legitimized your conspiracy theories to point to the point even Drunko Beto repeated them in debates. The good progressive he is. To those who hate President Trump, understand Trump is the only president in 18 years to bring home Americans from war, the only president to preside over the start of peace between North and South Korea, and soon will sign prison reform, so take your Trump hate and shove it. Trump is more quote-unquote liberal than the best president ever, President Obama, who deported more immigrants than anyone in history, 2.5 million, so much for abolish ICE, presided over the greatest domestic oil production in U.S. history, #climate change, and got us into Syria and other locations, and sent Americans to war. I'm a Trump supporter, will vote for Trump 2020 because he's bringing Americans home from never-ending conflicts. His foreign policy gives Max Boot and other neocons fits, and his allegiance to the country, and he has allegiance to the country, not to media or generals or anyone else. He's authentic, unlike Dems. If you think Trump is a racist, but voted for Hillary Clinton, you're nothing but a hypocrite. Clinton continues to make statements that would lose people their job in this day and age. Finally, for those who... I won't even get to this because I think this is what demonetized... Well, actually, the YouTube review, now it's monetized my vape video. But I call out people who don't like Israel. Then... Finally, another message to Kyle Kalinske. You should probably defend WikiLeaks and use your giant platform to support Julian Assange, but that might require you to have some courage, so forget that suggestion. Can't fight the oligarchy, man. Can't fight the oligarchy by snuggling up to Max Boot. Okay. Oh, and what else? To Sam Cedar and David Pakman, I actually just challenged them to a debate anytime on my channel. Actually, to Pakman, I oppose what was done to you by that journalist, because I do. I oppose what was done to David Pakman. That's horrendous. To both, Trump is a much better president than Obama. We'll debate both of you or anyone else with a platform on that issue. Okay, I'll be deleting this entire account in about an hour. Feel free to take screenshots or comments. I do appreciate the good people I've come across, and to anyone who wants to keep in touch with my books or segments, etc., just email me at contactgoodman78@gmail.com. God bless, Happy New Year, and Trump 2020. Oh, and I almost forgot. Thank you, Joan Walsh. Maybe you can tell future generations in your books why Hillary Clinton called black youth super predators, why she helped destroy Libya, why she voted for Iraq, and why she used the birther myth in 2008, along with why she survived Bosnian snipers and used a private server to transfer special access program intelligence and top secret intel outside the U.S. government onto her basement server for yoga and convenience. Anyway, it's been fun, but I'll be leaving Twitter soon, so take screenshots of these messages. Thanks. Okay. I took screenshots as well. And what can I tell you? I am going to have such a great time not being on Twitter, not wasting time, not getting into arguments with people, not in Facebook too. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. You simply can just search on Google, or actually what I'll do in my segments, I can't log on to Twitter. Just go into Twitter, hashtag whatever, and you can see, the news reports or what people say or whatever. The platform's not going to be around in 10 years, much less 5 years. I'm leaving it, and a lot of people are leaving it. No, the young people do not use Facebook. They don't use Twitter for anything. And young people really start trends. The 2020 presidential Democratic primaries, if you can survive social media, if you're on the left through that, that'll be like Hunger Games times a million. That'll be like the old WWF Battle Royales. It's just going to be the most unhealthy place, so I suggest you don't waste your time, especially if you're on the left. And if you're a Trump supporter, there's no reason to just waste your time arguing with people. Although I can tell you that I guess the Trump groups on Facebook, they were a lot healthier than groups on the left nowadays. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. I deactivated my Twitter and Facebook. Kind of give you some reasons as to why, but it's just basically a negative place. Doesn't help this channel, my writing, my articles, nothing. Doesn't help me as a human being. Doesn't help me analyze politics. Doesn't help me in any way. In any way. And it only hurts. It really, so that type of social media, the only thing good about Facebook is that you can reconnect with people, which I have, that you haven't seen in a long, long time. Other than that, there's really nothing good about Facebook or Twitter. Hit subscribe. Give me your thoughts below. Thanks.